Hey, you want to learn how to backpack? Cool, I'm Outdoor Anthony, and today we're learning what to pack in your backpack. There are some items on this table that I'm gonna totally bring, some items that I highly recommend you don't bring, and we're gonna learn all about that in this video of how to backpack. Thank you very much for our sponsor, Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes are made with 100% plant-based fibers, so they're compostable when you're off on your outdoor adventures. They're built for every butt, especially the dirty ones. No shower, no problem. Dude Wipes. The trip that I'm going on is going to be a 174-mile trip around Lake Tahoe on the Tahoe Rim Trail. And I used to work for the Tahoe Rim Trail. I might be the #1 authority in the world on the Tahoe Rim Trail that hasn't done the Tahoe Rim Trail. I'm gonna start with backpacks. So, backpacks are vitally important. They're one of the two things that I recommend you spend a little bit of money on. This backpack right here, I have had this guy since I was 15 years old. I have been to over 20 countries in this bag. External frames are super not popular now because they jingle and they're heavy. I love it. It really treated me well. But in with the new. This is an Osprey Aether 55-liter backpack. I'm gonna be using this for my trip. It's very padded, very breathable mesh. This is gonna be my bag to go on a 12-day backpacking trip. I'm gonna do your sleep system. This is my sleeping bag. It's a 20 degree, it's an Rei Igneo. If you ever buy a sleeping bag, the two things you have to look out for are how heavy is it and what's the temperature rating on it. So this guy is my favorite. It's really nice. I've had this for about 10 years. So it smells like me. See that? It's very, very light. That's what you want. I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. Dude Wipe's the only sponsor, so I'm genuinely giving you my recommendations. There are 2 sleeping pads here. Can you find them? Where are the sleeping pads? This is #1, and this is #2. Each of these were about $50. I got this at Big 5, and I got this, I don't even remember, probably at REI when I was like 10. I did 125 miles in the Gila wilderness with this guy, and it was really great to not have to worry about popping a sleeping pad. A lot of my friends had that problem. I was thinking about bringing this guy, and then I did a couple trips. I did Mount Whitney with this sleeping pad. This is the Klymit Static V, and I just literally got it at Big 5 for 50 bucks. Highly recommend it. It's just simple, bare bones. You don't have to break the bank with sleeping pads, really. Just don't go underneath $50, really. This is as cheap as I would get with them, but this guy's bomb-proof. They make them so pop-proof now. I have seen my friends, when I was in Desolation Wilderness, pop their sleeping pad because their dog stepped on it, and it was like a $300 sleeping pad. So the popability doesn't really change with the price. It's more about the convenience, the lightweightedness, and that's when the price usually goes up. So explore sleeping pads, test them out a few nights before you actually go out there because some of them suck. Like there's one called Sleep and Go. Do not buy that one. You might think to yourself, oh, how big is his tent? I don't see a tent up here. Well, oh, come on, baby. This is my typical tent. Anthony, please insert happy tent Anthony here. Yeah. It's a good sleeping pad, or sorry, it's a good tent. However, I don't want to carry it. I'm done with this. I'm comfortable enough to sleep outside. We call it cowboy camping. You don't need to bring a tent if you backpack. So what I do, my less complicated sleep system, is an Eno Doublenest Hammock. And a double nest hammock is technically for 2 people. I just like the extra material. And then, in case it rains in the middle of the night, I just got a crappy little tarp from a grocery outlet for $7. I cut it up 2 sides myself with the tarp and with the sleeping pad, and that's it. So this is my entire sleep system right here. I highly recommend considering ditching the tent. I'm gonna come right here. You can go to Walmart and get Paracord that's rated for over 1,000 pounds, which means you don't have to carry giant hammock straps with this thing. This is the Paracord that I'm gonna bring right here. One time I saw a car that was stuck in a ravine when I was leaving a camping site, and I towed them out of the ravine with 2 lengths of Paracord. The Paracord eventually broke, but they got them out of the ravine. So Paracord is highly underrated for hammocks. Please consider alternatives to tents, because tents are heavy. How do you store your water? You have a couple options. You can bring a bladder with you that has a hose that goes into your mouth. That's really convenient, and I really do like that system. You can have just a lot of loose bottles or platypuses in your bag, which I'm gonna kind of do that. This is a 2-liter platypus. They're great to have. Platypus used to suck, and now they're a lot better. So thank you, Platypus, for upping your game. And then what I learned from one of my backpacking guides a long time ago was you're not doing anything with your hands when you're backpacking, which means if you have a gallon of water, then that's 8.5 pounds you can take off your back and put into your hand. So I actually hike with my water in my hand. I also have emergency water. I'll have another 2 liters in my backpack on the platypus. But literally, I'll just walk with it and see how like I don't even need to hold it. It's relievingly very, very freeing to just have your water in your hand, because then you can just drink it and it's really nice. But get the Arizona bottles. If you have an Arizona like tea, those big jugs, that's what I'm gonna use. I went to the store before this and I couldn't find them. So I just wanted to use this just to show you. But Arizona tea can hold your water for you, and that is 3.78 liters, which is exactly a gallon. So if you have 1 gallon in your hand, which is 3.78 liters, and then you have another 2 liters in your backpack, you're looking at almost 6 liters, which is more than enough for a lot of places that you're going to go. Thank you very much. We're done with water. Okay, I lied. We're not done with water. How do you purify your water, right? That's a challenge, and it's a really big obstacle for a lot of folks. The iodine tablets are like $7 at like Big 5. So that is something, even if you have another filtration system, this is a great backup, even to take a few of these tablets and putting them into your backpack. I'm probably gonna bring this, which is a life straw. This is a Sawyer life straw. And then this is a little squeeze bag. So I'm gonna fill this up with water, and then I'm gonna attach this and then squeeze it into whatever my water system is. I'll squeeze this into a platypus bag. I'll squeeze this into that gallon bag. And it's way faster. However, it's a bit more laborious. So you can really decide between these two. There's also like UV ones, but I think that's sorcery and witchcraft, so I'm not endorsing those. I'll be honest, when I camp usually, I don't even bring a stove. I just eat dry, and I like pack salami with me and cheese, and then I just slice it up and make myself some charcuterie. And that's how I eat usually. I'll bring some apples and stuff as well. I eat dry and I eat out of my pockets. However, since my dad is coming with me on this trip on the Tahoe Rim Trail, I need to not be an idiot caveman. And so that involves me actually buying a nice stove. So I bought this Jetboil an hour ago. They're top of the market. This is what you really want to get, or a version of it. You could go super ultralight and get like cat can stoves and stuff. I would honestly, sometimes going ultralight makes you so much more labor intensive with your work. Just get a Jetboil if you're really doing good cooking. If you have other alternative stoves, leave them in the comments because I'm curious. All right, clothes. What clothes should you pack? Well, in my opinion, this is how it works. You have one short sleeve shirt. You have one pair of shorts. Then you have a long sleeve shirt for when it's cold in the morning and you want to hike still. Then you have a pair of joggers, or relaxed clothes that you can walk or hike in that are long pants. And then I would have my final cozy layer. And this cozy layer is vitally important. It doesn't need to be synthetic. You don't need a giant puffy down jacket. A lot of people swear that synthetic is the only way to go. I have done backpacking trips where I've only worn cotton, and it's fine. The only thing is cotton doesn't dry very quickly, so if you're in areas that it rains a lot or you're expecting a lot of moisture, I would ditch the cotton. I'm not gonna bring a giant jacket. I'm just gonna have this, and then a waterproof layer on top. That's gonna be basically my jacket. It's about the layers. Bring a hat, please bring sunglasses. I'm gonna pack a beanie. This is something that I might not bring. This is a camp pillow. It's bulky, it's heavy, and for that reason, what I'm probably gonna do is just get my sleeping bag right here, fill it full of the clothes that I'm not gonna use, and use that as my pillow. So I'm gonna use that and ditch this guy. Sacks are amazing. You don't want a bunch of loose stuff hanging around in your bag, touching its stuff. Sometimes you've just walked through poison oak. You don't want those clothes touching everything else in your bag. So everything that you have, you can get stuffed dry sacks for dirt cheap at Walmart. Do not get them at big outdoor stores. It's not worth it. They're basically gonna sell you the same thing for way more expensive. This is my first aid kit. I keep all of my first aid kit stuff in here. and my hygiene kit. So I have my sawed-off toothbrush in here. I have my sunscreen. I'm gonna have my chapstick in here as well. Please bring chapstick. No matter where you go, please bring chapstick. I don't know why, but I can't travel without knives. So I got this Hana knife, which is a trowel, a saw, and it's a knife, which is really rad. However, if you're pooping in the woods and then all of a sudden you're like, I am very scared that I'm gonna smell like poop all the time. So Dude Wipes is a very sustainable brand. You can leave Dude Wipes out in nature and it biodegrades, which is super rad. And this one is actually mint chill. So if you want a little extravagant experience while you're out in the middle of the woods, try out this mint chill Dude Wipes. So please pick up some Dude Wipes. And once again, Dude Wipes, thank you very much for sponsoring this video. We're going through it. Also in this bag are gonna be some deck of cards. A flashlight is really great. My headlamp is actually wrapped around that sleeping pad, so I'm gonna get that off. If your bag isn't waterproof, it's okay. The stuff inside can still be waterproof. And in this bag right here, I'm going to put all of my clothes. So I'm going to bring 2 extra pairs of socks. We're going to go into shoes. All right, let's talk about shoes. Your shoes are super important. I wear, honestly, a lot of Ultras. I did Mount Whitney in these shoes. I wouldn't go out into nature on a long distance backpacking trip if you haven't really worn in your shoes. I would recommend Ultras. But I would wear gaiters if you have low top shoes. If you have high top shoes, like what I'm wearing right now, you don't need gaiters, which is really rad. However, they're very hard to put on sometimes. All right, I do that every morning with these shoes. These are the Lone Peak bottoms, and if you can see that tread on the bottom, they're called the Claw Tread. Super, super nice. So, the Ultra Outroads are really nice, really cushy. Highly recommend. I go jogging in them, I go hiking in them, and my feet are really happy. So get yourself a pair of some Ultras. You can get yourself either the Lone Peak high tops, or I would recommend these guys right here, which are the Outroad 2s. But when you're in camp, you need camp shoes. Just bring sandals. Sandals are also great for river crossings. Crocs also do the same kind of effect. So we haven't talked about food yet, and that's on purpose because in the Tahoe Basin, it is mandatory to have a bear canister with you at all times. It is a hard-sided bear canister. Ursacks, if you ever buy an Ursack, they don't do the job. Bears have been witnessed tearing them apart. And even if they don't get into the Ursack, your food is destroyed by the time the bears get to it. So I don't recommend Ursacks. Highly recommend these guys right here, which are, I mean, you could get bear vaults, you could get barricades, but essentially you want to get a bear-proof bag or a bear-proof canister. There's been bears in my house. There have been bears on this bench just because of how much they are interested in human food. If you can lock that away, fantastic. So when we're packing, I'm going to use this milk jug to show you where the bear can would be placed in my backpack.
Here's some examples of dehydrated food. I forgot to include it when I talked about food. Yeah.
This is the last thing that I'm going to show you before we pack the bag. This right here is a little Osprey waterproof pack. So in this is kind of like a fitted sheet for your bag, and this sheet basically fits over your entire backpack, and then it waterproofs it if you're hitting a lot of rain and stuff. All right, so this is how I wanted to lay it out in my backpack. I'm actually not going to put my sleeping bag in my sleeping bag. I'm going to lay it out so it form fits to the bottom, and then on top of that I'm going to have my clothes, and if it doesn't fit well, I'm going to take it out of that pack as well and form fit it to the bottom. And then towards the center of your back, your middle back, that's where you want the heavy stuff. So I have my sleep systems on the side, and then I have, remember this is a bear canister, so I have that right in the center, and then that's gonna also be with my stove and stuff like that. You always wanna have your bear canister facing up where the lid is up here. Now the top of your bag, this is where you're gonna have like your rain layers, your waterproof layers. You're gonna have maybe like some quick draw snacks. I actually ended up putting a lot of my maps and stuff like that. I'm gonna put it in the brain of the bag. I'm not gonna keep this on the top. That way I can have easy access to my bear canister. And then other than that, dude, like that's it. Like that's all that I'm bringing for 11 days. Starting at the bottom, form fit the bottom of that bag with the sleeping bag. Now I'm going to put the clothes in there. And then right after the clothes, what I'm gonna do is put the biggest thing in first, which is going to be the bear canister. It's full of milk still. We're going to decorate around it with all these smaller, lighter weight items. Put all this towards the center, middle of your back, right around here. That way you basically can manipulate and move around a little bit more than you would if it was on the outside of your bag, right? That makes more sense. Now I put the stove on this side of the bag, and then I put the fuel on this side, so I kind of want to overcompensate and put more on this side. That way it makes up for the fact that this side's a little bit heavier right now. My journal and those like miscellaneous items, like that deck of cards and stuff, I'm gonna put that on the fuel side. Keep the trowel in the brain in case I need to take a dump real quick. It'll be available. A map. I'm gonna put the chapstick in the side holster right here. Boop. My phone is probably gonna go on the other side, but I'm filming it with it right now, so I'm not gonna use it. And the waterproof layer. You need to have quick access to that. Some sunscreen, absolutely. That's gonna go in the brain as well. I'm gonna put the first aid kit in the top as well. This is going to be full of water in case of emergencies. So I'm gonna lay that sideways at the very top here, right against my, let's do like right here. Hammock, tarp, and then the sleeping pad on this side. My hygiene products, I usually keep it in my first aid kit. I'm gonna keep it separate, and there's 2 zippers on this brain, so I'm gonna put it in the higher zipper. I'm gonna put my water filtration stuff at the very top too, because during the day, you're gonna need that pretty immediately if you come across a great water source. Oh man, well, guys, we did it. So, I'm going to clip this all up, and then we're going to weigh it. We'll add a couple extra pounds for the fact that we don't have a lot of water in here. Good. I am 164.2. Alexa, what's 164.2 minus 137.8? 26.4 pounds. I'm definitely gonna add extra to it because, like, of just life.
Yeah.
But I think we're good. Now I want to check to see how balanced it is. I think I did a pretty good job packing this. Oh man. So, as you can see, I didn't break the bank with this stuff. I think collectively everything in here probably costs less than $1,000, and that's including the $400 sleeping bag and the $350 bag itself. You don't have to go out and buy yourself a whole Steve Irwin outfit. This is it. Modern backpacking's pretty rad. If you have any questions about any of the backpacking stuff that you saw, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. Other than that, thank you very much, Dude Wipes, for sponsoring this video. That way you guys could see this ad-free. Other than that, have a great adventure. Go outside, wipe your ass hygienically, and I'll see you out on the trail. All right, let's go.